what we know, Joe, is that this seems like a way of standardizing a non-standard process in terms of how this deal was announced. Of course, you really can't have a less standard process than announcing you are considering taking a company private on Twitter, then throwing out a price, and then in a succession of tweets sort of leaking little bits of information here and there. So the board is going to meet with investment bankers, at least one investment bank.
What bank is that, Alex?
What was that?
What bank is that?
I know, but for reporting reasons, I'm not going to reveal that yet. But there's you can keep in mind that these companies do have relationships with certain people. Individuals have relationships with certain people, and the board has told Elon Musk, or plans to tell Elon Musk, as my sources are indicating, that he should get his own set of advisors.
Right. Hey, Alex,
similar type of pattern happened with Michael Dell when Michael Dell wants to take Dell private.
The very basic question is, does the board believe or know whether, in fact, Elon Musk has financing secured, as he said in his original tweet?
So what I'm told on this is that the board believes that Elon can round up the financing. But it is still unclear if he has actual committed financing. That obviously is a concern with the SEC. If he does not, in fact, have committed financing.
Is that a concern with the board?
Secured financing.
Is it a concern with the board that the CEO of the company is publicly saying things that may not, at least if you parse it,
material impact and may potentially break law?
I mean, is that a problem? Have you sensed any angst among board members or people around the board?
Look, Tesla hasn't commented where the money is coming from, and it's now more than 48 hours. There's actually a countdown clock. Someone made a countdown clock on you can find it on Twitter about the amount of time since Elon Musk tweeted funding secured, and Tesla has not commented on it. That can't be a good situation for any company. If the money was readily available and there and it was all signed up, you would have to tell me why the company hasn't come out already and said, here it is. It's either not there or it's some bizarre / terrible investor and public relations about why you wouldn't say that at this point.
Alex,
so
did the company
standardize the process?
Did the company have any obligation to disclose these conversations given about going private before they came out via Twitter, given that the board said in its own statement that they began having this conversation with Elon Musk a week prior? Or is that somehow papering over something else?
Look, you'd have to really delve into what the seriousness of the conversations were at that point, which goes back to the initial point of, is this funding committed / secured? Look, the whole idea here that Elon Musk would go out on Twitter and say, I am considering taking the company private, and then saying funding secured and not having the money, at that or having the money, I think that's what the board is trying to figure out, and that's why they're going to do this next week to say, okay, exactly what are you thinking? What do you have here?
But on the funding thing, you'd either know it or you wouldn't. Am I crazy? On the funding piece of this, on the funding piece, you'd either know within 5 minutes whether there's funding or there's not funding. Not I can round up the funding. Funding might be available if I call my 10 best friends, call a lifeline. I mean, that's not funding.
Well, it is funding. It's just not committed funding.
I'm just trying to understand what the board is thinking about this.
Well, I'm sure that is what the board is thinking about this. I'm sure the board has been handed a situation now that they are going to try to, again, clean up and standardize if they can. And, again, the SEC will be looking at this to say, all right, what is the acceptable amount of time here if you do, in fact, round up committed financing? I mean, this is the question right now around this company is, if they are able to turn secured financing into committed financing, is there a certain amount of time where that's acceptable? These are the questions that regulators are looking at right now, and I'm sure these are the main questions that the board is asking and wanting to solve as quickly as possible.